All right, so yes, I scaled this producer's type beat channel by 400% in the last 30 days. And the reason why I really like this case study is because it just kind of shows you that you don't need to start a brand new channel in order to start seeing results, right? And it shows that I can go into anyone's channel and immediately start scaling their channel up, right? And so this really just shows that I know what I'm doing. I'm good at what I do. And by the way, if I don't mean to say that in a cocky way, of course, but for those of you that are new and don't know what I do, right, this is exactly all I do. I've had consistent revenue year after year in the type beat space and just in the beat selling space. A lot of the money comes from YouTube, believe it or not. Like this is just YouTube revenue here for just this channel. I run and operate multiple channels and obviously channels for my clients. I do it in all kinds of niches, R&B, country, even in this niche, for example, right? I never even put type beat in any of the titles, right? I got this channel monetized in under 30 days. Same with like literally all of these channels. Lil Baby, I mean, you name it, I've done it. Again, I don't mean to say that in a cocky way, but I do feel that I am successful at what I do. So I don't mind sharing some advice that I have, right? So before my client started working with me, he was doing about 2 to 2,500 views on a good day, right? And now after 30 days of my client working with me, he's doing about 6 to 7 or even 8,000 views in a day. And I really love seeing that because he's in a niche that you actually wouldn't expect to get this amount of views from. So throughout this video, I'm just going to go over kind of like the steps that I took to actually get him these results. It's going to get nerdy, bear with me, right? Believe it or not, I'm kind of a geek, right? But yeah, so just bear with me. And also, if you want to get the same type of coaching that this guy got and scale up your type B channel very quickly, feel free to apply for my one-on-one coaching down below. But yeah, so the first thing that I did was I had to completely restructure my client's metadata. Okay, so he was kind of all over the place. This isn't my client's metadata, it's just a screenshot for example. But by the way, the metadata is like the tags, descriptions, and titles, stuff like that. But yeah, so I completely had to restructure his metadata because kind of his titles were a little bit funky, and this is no shade on my client. Shout out to my client. I'm not going to expose who he is or what his niche is. As you can see, I have it kind of blocked out. Just because I'm still working with him and I want, out of respect for him, like I don't want to expose him because we have a really good niche there and I want to kind of keep it that way. So yeah, the first thing I did was just fix his metadata, and I did that with some tools that I have, vidIQ, or I use my own personal tools, right? Some of you guys might not notice, but I have like AI systems and stuff like that to help me sell beats and kind of analyze the market. This stuff gets really nerdy. So if you're new to all this stuff, just take a breather. Like I'm going to go very slow and explain it. And I plan on posting a lot more consistent, like ideally every single day. So just be ready for that. But yeah, I tidied up his metadata, got him with a good set of keywords, right? Before he was going for just one artist, and I decided to plug him in with 2 artists in the title, and we found that that worked a lot better because one of the artists was a very like low competition keyword, but still had some buzz, and then the other artist was definitely a bigger artist in the space, and so we kind of leveraged both of those keywords to kind of help each other, and that's where it started really working well. So I then did some market research and found a gap in the market. And so, for example, like the way I found a gap in the market was by actually taking a look at YouTube itself and looking up the keywords that he was going for and seeing what the competition was doing. Another way that I was able to do this was by using my Type B market analyzer, which is just like my own personal tool that I use. And this kind of showed me exactly like where his competition was failing, and gave me an analysis and showed me keywords, all the metadata from the top guys in that niche. So I could just steal that, and then it gave me an analysis of where I can crush the competition. So that made it very easy. So using my own personal tools along with free tools like vidIQ, and just even just looking at YouTube itself, right? That gives you half of it right there. And yeah, so I also noticed that everybody in my client's niche was doing thumbnails of the artists that he was targeting, right? So a lot of the times in the type beat space, you'll see a lot of thumbnails that look like this, right? For example, this would be a Future type beat, and it's got Future as the thumbnail, right? That's very classic for the type beat space. And it's not that it doesn't work, it's just everyone does it, right? Usually because it does work. But what I found is when you go against the grain sometimes, that you can leverage that to get even way better results. I've done this myself. So a lot of people were going for example, like in Big Scar, in like the Pooh Shiesty space, a lot of people were doing just the artist. What I started doing was doing stuff that matched the theme and matched the aesthetic of the artist, and went for like pictures that were targeting a much broader niche. And yeah, so I started doing that, and that's how I really scaled up this channel. As you can see, there's barely any artist pictures. There's 2 actually in the top 8. And yeah, so we switched them over to a lot broader thumbnails, like just jewelry, cars, money, chains, stuff like that. And by doing that, my clients' views completely skyrocketed, right? And we didn't need to create a new channel to achieve these results, right? I instantly started getting him much better results. And if you look here, right, he's getting 46,000 views a week. And if we just do the math on that, right, if we just think about this logically for a second, 184,000 views a month, which is, 46,000 times 4, it's 184,000 views a month. If we just take 3% of that and be conservative, right, that's 5,520 people clicking on his beats, right, and then actually clicking on the link in the description, the purchase link, right. So these are like pretty warm leads that are clicking on the videos because they searched up for a specific type of beat, and then they're clicking the purchase link for that specific type of beat. They know exactly what they want. So these are like the warmest leads you can get. That's what's so powerful about the type beat space. It's like we didn't need to pay for any of this reach. We did. You normally, to get 46,000 eyeballs in a week, you'd need to be spending like at least a few $1,000s on ads. But with the right strategy, right, we're able to actually have him make money off of getting these eyeballs, right? So, and they're the right type of eyeballs. So then we got him, let's say 1.5% of 5,520 people actually convert, right? We're being super conservative here. That's 82 sales that this guy would get. You do 82 times 30. Let's just say everyone only bought the cheapest lease. Then dude's making $2,500 a month in sales. And then if we take a look at his YouTube ad revenue, which would actually probably be a bit higher, it'd probably be about 150 since the views started climbing a lot later here. But let's just say it's 120 a week, right? That's 487. So we're basically getting him to about 3,000 a month in revenue. And that this is just assuming everyone goes for the cheapest lease. Obviously, a lot of people will go for, the unlimited, or they'll go for the $50 lease, or whatever pricing you have. This is just like an example, right? So these are just example numbers, but we're using pretty conservative data, and everything is math. So if you just do the math on some of this stuff, you realize like, okay, this is actually pretty possible, right? So now a little bit what I want to talk about is thumbnail formats. So just to give you a better understanding of why I actually did this, right? I'm not going to gatekeep anything. I'm just going to show you why we switched these thumbnails. So if I open this up, what we have here is the algorithm. And essentially, the algorithm that he's playing for is basically this type of algorithm, the drug/smoking algorithm, or like the jewelry algorithm. That's a popular one. I don't actually have it listed here, but that's kind of the algorithm that he's playing with. He's kind of playing into both of these, kind of combining it. So basically, inside of the algorithm, there is multiple algorithms, okay? And this is gonna get a little complicated, so just make sure you're taking notes, right? Get your notes out, get your pen and pencil, and yeah. So let's say you're going for R&B beats, right? You're not gonna put a picture, like if you're doing Brent Faiyaz type beat, you're not actually gonna put a picture of Brent Faiyaz, because if you do that, you're boxing yourself in, right? If you do a picture of Brent Faiyaz, right, and you get yourself in the artist algorithm, okay? So the artist algorithm is for the thumbnails with the artist on the picture, okay? So say you're doing Brent Faiyaz type beat, and you do a picture of Brent Faiyaz. Guess what? The only videos that are going to get recommended next to your video are other type beat videos with Brent Faiyaz as the thumbnail. So you start to box yourself in, okay? Now, when you do thumbnails like this, for example, if you just look here, this could either be a Nardo Wick type beat, this could either be a Lil Baby type beat, this could either be a Pooh Shiesty type beat, it could be an NBA Youngboy type beat, it could be a Splurge type beat, it could be anything, right? Because it goes into that category, and I call it the hood algorithm, right? So, like I said, like this is exactly the categories that it goes into. So when you use a thumbnail like this, you're more likely to get showed up next to other people with these thumbnails. And guess what? If these thumbnails are getting millions of views and you're getting put next to thumbnails like this, you're going to get suggested a whole lot more. So that's what I mean by going for a much broader appeal. You're getting yourself out of this. You don't want to be in this. You don't want to be stuck here. Because guess what? For example, if you're doing Lil Baby type beat and you have a picture of Lil Baby as the thumbnail, the only videos that are going to be recommended next to it is more type beat videos with a picture of Lil Baby on it. Okay? So your video is only going to be recommended next to other videos of Lil Baby. Okay? Obviously, Lil Baby's a pretty big keyword. So if you're fine with that, you're definitely still going to get views. But I don't really like to box myself in. So I like to box myself in on a niche or on a thumbnail format that clearly gets millions of views. And that's exactly what I did for this channel. And I did that very well. So for example, here we have like the freestyle beat algorithm. I call this like the worldwide mainstream algorithm. So if you see a lot of these thumbnails, guess what's going to get recommended next to more of these videos? It's going to be thumbnails just like this. So the thumbnail is arguably the most important thing. And no one really dives into like the thumbnail formats and stuff like that. I like to do it because this is a ton of sauce right here alone. And this is what really helped me start getting a lot of success in the type beat space. So that's a little bit about the thumbnail formats. And then what we did was we doubled down on the keywords that were driving the most consistent results. Okay. So for example, if you see your channel is taking off on Ariana Grande type beat, for example, that's a crazy example, but let's say, you're somehow doing good on Ariana Grande. If you post the next day a Lil Baby type beat, yo, like what the fuck are you doing? I'm serious. Like, what are you doing? If something's working, triple down on it, quadruple down. I don't care, 100x down on it. Okay, because it's working for a reason. Clearly, it's clicking with your channel and your audience likes it. Guess what happens if your audience doesn't like your own content? You think YouTube's gonna push it out to more people? If your own subscribers don't even click on your content, hello, like, come on. So I know like the way I come across might seem like a little like mean, or it might seem a little I don't know, just not coming across very nice. I'm just trying to get these points into your head, because this took me a long time to figure out myself. I'm not gonna lie, it took me a long time, even though this is very simple stuff, right? It's pretty simple. Everything I've said, besides like maybe some of the conversion mechanisms and stuff like that, or the tools I use, like this is pretty simple. Okay. As long as you're like taking notes. But yeah, so we doubled down on the keywords that were clearly working for him, and we did a lot more of that. If you see something's working good, do more of it. Okay. Shout out Alex Hermosi. I think he said something like that, or maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, so this is like an overview of basically how I scaled this guy's type beat channel in 30 days. And I tend to do this in 30 days a lot. Again, if you want me to get you the same results I got my client here and 4x your revenue, then feel free to apply to book a call with me down below. And me and my team will reach back to you as soon as we can, and we'll let you know if you're a good fit or not. But yeah, regardless, I hope you got a lot of sauce from this. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Take care.